Today we're talking about Project Hospital, a game that pits you in a traditional management style game themed around hospital management. You'll have to design and manage your hospital across multiple realistically operating wards as you build them from the ground up. If you want to combine your interests in medicine and management, let's see if this is the one for you. This game is like 2 Points Hospital, but more grounded in reality. Patients will present with actual medical conditions and require realistic diagnostics and treatments to help them. You're introduced as a retired hospital manager being called back to work to help a failing company. You'll handle everything from the design and building phase to managing the staff and patients through various wards such as internal medicine, ICU, surgery, etc. You'll have full control over the placement of the wards, hallways, and every object that goes into making it all work. You'll be able to design each ward exactly as you would like to see it, right down to the plants sitting in the lobby. When building, the game will prompt you for required equipment depending upon how the room is classified, so it's pretty straightforward to figure out what you need. If you don't want to spend a bunch of time laying out a room, you can also simply use the game's prefabs to speed up the process, a nice addition. Once the hospital is built, you're then tasked with operating the hospital both day and night. You'll have to hire staff based on their skill, balance the budget, manage overcrowding, and even assign chief doctors, just to name a few of the key features. Money is made through processing patients, so the faster you can diagnose and treat them, the more money you'll make. Your layout has a huge impact on how efficient this is. You'll also get hit with disasters randomly where you have a big influx in patients on top of the normal day-to-day operation. This provides a nice challenge with rewards. The game does give a lot of fine control over every aspect of the game. You're able to take control of a doctor in your hospital and manage the patients under their care, or just take charge of a specific patient. That, or you can just let the doctors do their job while you work on managing the hospital. The priority is up to you, and it's quite refreshing to be given such a choice in how much control you want to have. You'll learn about all of this through the game's story mode, which is essentially a big tutorial. It introduces these concepts slowly and at a pace that I thought was quite good. Once you're done with story mode and you start up your own hospital, you'll be able to turn off things like patients dying, have unlimited money, and all the wards unlocked. This way, you can just focus on having the best possible hospital you can imagine without having to worry about all the nitty-gritties. The DLC packages add more services and wards to the hospital. Hospital services, for example, will add in cafeterias and shops. There are several packages available that are fairly priced. I haven't tried them at all, so I really can't comment on them too much. And hey, if all this building and designing stuff doesn't really sound like your thing, you can even dive right into a completely pre-built hospital. I love how this game gives you such a choice over how involved you want to be. You can manage the entire thing right down to every little detail, or be more hands-off and just handle the big problems and focus on management. Not too many games give this flexibility and require way too much damn micromanaging, so I really like this. This game isn't without its problems, however, and there are some large, glaring issues. For starters, for a game that centralizes around building, it makes fixing a mistake very difficult. You can go back a step, but it won't usually allow you to do this more than once. It's very manual to tear things down, and grabbing items can be tricky as the game will prioritize what it thinks should be grabbed first when multiple objects are on the same tile. The game also doesn't enforce much outside of room requirements. If you want to put toilets all together hanging out in the open in the middle of surgery, well, I'm pretty sure you don't need me to explain the sociological and sterility issues of this one. Then there is the issue of physics. Do you want to build a monster hospital expansion on the 4th floor with absolutely no structural support from down below and no walls? Sounds good to me. However, what if you want to make a common waiting room for all of the wards instead of a bunch of smaller ones? Whoa, slow down there, Tiger. That ain't gonna fly. You need to place one for each bloody area. It gives you a lot of freedom in some areas, yet really squeezes in tight on others, and this just results in the game feeling disjointed. Let's also talk about the issue of overcrowding here a little bit, something that most real hospitals are quite used to dealing with. If a specific ward fills up, yet another has a bunch of open beds, the game will more often than not refuse to allow the use of those beds to deal with it. In fact, the only ward that is pretty much always going to let you shove extra patients into it is the ICU, a ward that specializes in dealing with the critically ill. Let's look at an example here. Take a look at Bob. Bob has a broken leg and needs surgery, but has no life-threatening symptoms. However, surgery is out of beds and has no room for him. Internal medicine was more interested in playing solitaire and wanted to keep their ward empty and refused him. So I sent Bob to the ICU, where they immediately intubated him and put him on a ventilator. I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure that's a malpractice suit just waiting to happen. Lastly, there is the problem of never-ending small fires. These come up as pop-ups that freeze the game and can be something from a patient crashing to Bob has no bed to lay in. If you just wanted to play doctor mode, these can get really frustrating. You can turn them off, but ignoring them will affect the hospital negatively, so you kind of have to deal with them. Yet, on the other hand, as much as I hate these pop-ups, this actually feels fairly realistic. Overcrowding and fixing little daily issues are problems that real hospitals have to deal with every day. I just feel that the game doesn't give enough control here to manage these problems. Or more importantly, self-manage the problems if you have focus elsewhere. Okay, let's summarize this into a pros and cons list real quick here. High detail. The game is very realistic with real diagnostics, treatments, and operates like a real hospital does. A lot of attention to detail was added and it shows. Micromanage or macromanage. You decide how involved you want to be. It's unique. There are very few games out there that involve hospital management, and this is one that handles it the most realistically from what I've seen. On the flip side, issues such as consistent small fires, unclear solutions, and disjointed physics coupled with annoying restrictions really do drag the gameplay down. I know I've been very hard on this game and you might expect a really poor rating. Despite the glaring issues, this is still a really fun game. For the most part, it plays very well and you just have to come accustomed to how it wants you to run certain things. The challenge of tweaking for optimal performance and deciding how involved you get is really appealing to me. It's also on for a budget price, so I can't hold it against it too much. As such, I rate this one 6.5 out of 10. Good, but receives a hesitant recommended buy. If you feel like you can overlook the game's problems, then you'll probably still really enjoy it. If some of these feel like deal breakers for you, then maybe reconsider. Despite the issues, I still felt like the game was a lot of fun to play, and it's something I'll be diving back into again later when I have more time. Its realism, I figure, will make some players choose it over other games of this type. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope this helped, and we'll see you out in the hospital wards. Just hopefully not like Bob here. I feel like he's going to be pretty pissed off when he wakes up. I mean, just look at him. He broke his leg and now they're breathing for him. I just...